All right, here we are again with another Saturday Night Live, and a very special guest, Andrew, has joined us to share his MFS experience. And thank you so much for joining us, Andrew.
Thank you. Thank you both. Congratulations to you both on your wedding. And yeah, it's great to be here talking with you guys again.
It's awesome. Um, we've been on a busy schedule and stuff, so we've had a couple of weeks off of Zoom. First couple we've missed in quite a while. I had to miss one when I had a flight that one time, but it's uh, it's awesome to keep connected and keep inspiring each other. We need it just as much as you guys. The group is there more for me than anybody else. I get inspired reading everybody's stories and communicating with people all the time. So it's awesome to be able to keep that connection, which is so important. We were just chatting before about just being out here regularly in society. It's very challenging to live this lifestyle for most of us. Very challenging, unless you're off in the jungle and hibernating in a cave somewhere.
I wish.
We're going to run into challenges, and that's okay. And that's okay. So we do the best we can. Ranj, can you mute your mic, please?
Oh,
yeah, okay, great. Thanks. So, Andrew, maybe you want to share a little bit about, how you grew up, basically, quickly, your lifestyle, what drove you to change things, and how did you find MFS and so on and so forth? A little summary.
Sure. So I'm 33 years old. I live in Australia. I grew up in Australia, and I grew up in a very loving family. And we grew up on a standard Australian diet, which is we had a lot of home cooked meals. We didn't really eat junk food. It wasn't a thing, but we still had meat every single night for dinner, and it had a lot of bread, a lot of like sandwiches for lunch every day as a school kid, cereals and milk in the morning for breakfast every single day. I remember my earliest memory of like my school lunch was I used to have, as maybe in grade 3 or something, I had sandwiches with white bread and beetroot and cheese. It was the most bizarre thing, but I loved the taste of it, and it was, looking back, it was just horrible stuff to be consuming.
Very.
Um,
when we hear like the standard American standard, Canadian standard Australian, there's very lot of similarities in modern societies these days. Like there's not much difference between the standards. The meat, the potatoes, the bread, cheese, the milk, so on, and eggs, whatever.
Yeah, so meat every night for dinner, and my father is he's a really passionate cook. He gave a lot of love through his cooking, and he really enjoyed that, and he still does, and that's why there's a lot of like separation between me and him, because he doesn't understand what I'm doing, and he wants me to eat his food that he cooks and puts all that love into, but I can't eat it anymore. So
is he the cook in the family?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, every night he would cook, and my mum didn't really cook that often, only when Dad was busy or something. But I mean, emotionally, as a kid, I was very closed. Like I was very, very shy growing up, and very self-conscious, very self-obsessed with my image, my body image, and that kind of like led into my teenage years was when it all sort of started. I think that was when everything went downhill physically in terms of my health. When I started getting, problems with my skin. I had really bad acne as a teenager, and I was so self-conscious about my appearance and, you know, obsessed with what other people, their opinions were of me. And I wanted to fix my skin. I was looking to the doctors to help and all this sort of stuff. And I took all the antibiotics, and then just after high school, I ended up taking the Accutane drug, which is, you know, one of the worst drugs around. And I took that because, you know, like I had like a really thick kind of cystic acne, you know, like on my neck, on my chest, on my back, and it really took over my life, you know. And so I took this Accutane drug for, it must have been almost 12 months I was on this drug.
Wow.
And within about 3 months after taking that, I had I was into the gastroenterologist doctors, and, you know, I had a diagnosis of Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. So that was kind of the first major physical thing that I had wrong with me. And so, you know, I took steroids and that to try and control the inflammation and bring the activity of the Crohn's disease down a bit, and then that brought my acne back, and you know, because initially the drug cleared up my acne. I had like baby skin, you know, but it wasn't. It was just suppressing it. It wasn't obviously healing it. So
did it give you any side effects?
Yeah, like it was. Well, I mean, I ended up with Crohn's disease straight afterwards, and it's actually listed on the label. Now that I look back, I didn't realize it at the time, but it's listed as a side effect. And another major one is, you know, a lot of people end up with depression and suicidal,
Wow.
which I developed depression in later years after that. But, you know, things like it really dries you out, like it dries out your skin. I had like sensitivity to light, even like artificial lighting. I couldn't go out in the sun. I would get sunburnt within a second on this drug. It was really, really intense. But how I found Masterfast, I basically reached a point in my life about I don't know, about a year ago, where I just couldn't go on anymore. Like I had to change the way I was living and what I was doing, and it was like my soul was just kicking down the door, you know. Like now that I look back, it's like my soul just wanted to take over and show me the way, and this was the point where it all changed, and it kind of happened over a series of events, as it does for most people. And so at the time, you know, this was a couple of years ago, I was heavily depressed. I'd had, you know, clinical depression for like 8 years, and I was loaded full of drugs, and had anxiety and all the rest. And I was working, you know, I'm an engineer. I work in construction, basically project management, and very stressful environment, lots of hours, really intense. And I was basically burning myself out, just working. And I was driving into work early morning. It was still dark because the sun hadn't come up yet, and I fell asleep at the wheel momentarily, and I drifted into oncoming traffic.
Oof.
And a truck was coming right at me, and I sort of swerved off the road. And at the time, it was in the deepest part of my depression, and I was already having, you know, suicidal thoughts of how I could end this and end the suffering. And when I had this experience of, it was, you know, presented to me, well, this is what it is, and I just got completely shocked, and I didn't want to. I knew right then and there, this is not really what I want, you know. This is not the way out of it. And it just, like that, from that moment on, I had a mental breakdown, and I couldn't stand up, you know. I was just completely just hopeless. And so at the time, the only thing I knew was, I got onto the phone to my psychiatrist and said, I'm completely lost. I can't go on anymore. And this is like before I was about to go into a very important meeting at work that I was going to chair. Like I just went from acting professional to just completely hopeless, and I couldn't stand up. And so I put my hand up for help, and they put me in a hospital, and I was in a psychiatric hospital for about 5 weeks, which was kind of all necessary to get me where I am now. But they changed up all my medications and trialed different drugs and all that sort of stuff. And
were you on antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications?
yeah, I was on. I tried several different antidepressants over the 7 or 8 years, and I was on on the Valiums and the antipsychotic drugs to help me sleep at night, and then I was on drugs to just keep me awake as well, because I was drowsy from these benzodiazepine drugs, and I was on lithium as well, which I'm pretty sure damaged my kidneys pretty bad. So when I got out of hospital, I was like, in the mindset of, I've got 2 young daughters and a family. I can't have this happen again, because it's gonna cost us a lot of money, number one, and it's gonna potentially my health is at risk and all the rest. And so I thought, all right, so we changed up all our insurance, health insurance, and all the rest, because we were still in that mindset of the victim and not accepting responsibility for my health. And so I hadn't done anything for my Crohn's disease for a long time, because I hated taking medication. And so I thought, oh, I can't have this happen again with my Crohn's, so I better really go to the doctor and, get back on a treatment and manage it properly. And so the gastroenterologist said, oh, this is, I had a colonoscopy and there's still, lots of ulcers and stuff in my colon and in my bowels and in my ileum, terminal ileum. And, he said, if it's not too bad, the inflammation at the moment, but if you let it go on, there's no saying that it's going to get really bad, and we might have to cut out sections of your colon and that sort of thing. And so I thought, oh, better do something about it. Okay, here's the drug you need to go on. It's an immunosuppressant drug. It will suppress your immune system, because we think your immune system is attacking itself, and that's what's causing all these problems with your GI tract.
Yeah.
And these are all the symptoms, and he rattled off all the symptoms, and it was like, possible leukemia and cancer and all this stuff. And I thought, well, how is this any better than what I already have, And that kind of flicked a switch, and it led me to look into alternatives to the mainstream medical treatment. That's, I came back, I went away and I came back and saw him, and I said, look, I can't do this. I can't go on these drugs for the rest of my life, because that's what he was telling me, you would have to be on these drugs for the rest of your life.
Of course.
And so I said, look, I want to go away. I want to look into other alternatives, and, maybe we'll come back in 6 months' time. And, he kind of just scoffed at me, and he said the same 3 things that every single gastroenterologist has said to me. And he said, look, there's no cure for this. There's nothing that you can do to change this through, diet, what you put into your body. And before all of that, he said, look, we don't know what causes this. 100%, we don't know what causes this. There's no cure, and there's nothing that you can eat or drink that's going to change this.
It's just,
It's like,
And looking back at it now, it's just insanity to think that a disease of the gastrointestinal tract has nothing to do with what you put into that.
Exactly.
Just
How can
insanity.
they say anything when they haven't tried themselves
Yeah.
to clean
Program.
up?
They're running on a program. That's all.
And it makes me think sometimes, how is it that very few people like us know the truth? How? I don't like to see. Is it like it's not?
Programming so thick, and we just can't. The general population can't break through that because it's everywhere, and it's been from birth. And
Yeah, but like forget the general, like the average person. I'm talking about very few people. I'm sure they have known the truth. I am sure. Like it's not rocket science. I mean, we spend years and years and years in school to study diseases and this and that, and we learn nothing really. We can't help anyone.
Yeah.
I just don't get how come. I'm sure people have known. I mean, Arnold Ehret, for example, knew a lot. That's 100 years ago, and he wrote a book, and it's published, and like, but it's not out there. You know, like yeah, the average person takes a while to learn, I guess.
It just started getting popular the last few years.
Yeah, right?
After we started really putting out the information, because I don't see many really understood what he says in that book.
And Dr. Morse too, he brought it back to life, right? More or less like with the foods.
Well,
Yeah.
I've read that book I don't know how many times
28
since
years ago, right?
1990.
Yeah. There are people who read it a long time ago. A few people that we know, right? Yeah, and they changed their lifestyle with it.
Yeah, it's good info. Very good info in that book. Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Andrew, it's crazy. Like what you mentioned about they're thinking that the body starts attacking itself. Like, really? Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
it's usually when they don't have an answer, I hear autoimmune disease.
Yeah, autoimmune. It's a general paintbrush that they paint over all these diseases. And
when they don't know what to say, they say it's another disease called autoimmune disease.
Yeah.
Cannibalize the thing about fasting. Your body starts cannibalizing itself. I don't think so. Not from what I understand. Impossibility. It may look like it because we lose a lot of weight.
Waste.
But yeah, so after that happened, I walked out of that doctor's surgery, and I was determined to look into alternatives, because I was completely mainstream at that point, And
what year approximately was that?
This would have been 2016, I think.
So up to that point, you were mainstream.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And so I had, because I had the time off work from my, mental breakdown and all the rest. I basically had 8 months off work, and I just started researching like a maniac. I immersed myself in the internet and in YouTube, and I found, like, I went paleo, like I cut out gluten and dairy straight away, because I saw a naturopath, and that was the sort of thing that they recommended. And then they gave me like $400 worth of supplements as well. There you go. You need to take all this. It was all necessary, like,
Yeah, I remember my dad went to see one because some family members said, "Oh, you at least go see a naturopath."
Yeah.
$1,000 for good salt, and I don't remember the amount of supplements would have been another 1,000, 1,500.
Yeah, it's more expensive than pharmaceutical drugs, because you don't get we don't get the benefits over here from the government.
Yeah.
And so I went to the naturopath, I went paleo, and, that sort of initially I felt better, but, long term it's not any good for health. And then before I went onto like plant-based diet, I just jumped straight into a master fast. Like I found out about, I think it was I saw a video on YouTube. I think it might have been Gino's video where you were sort of walking along the beach and you were dry fasting, and you did a little video there. And I think that's that's what flicked the switch, and it just, you know, the concept of fasting just made sense about just, you know, and when you make reference to nature and the animals in nature, when they fast, like when they're sick, they fast, and it just flicked a switch. It just made absolute sense. And I sort of jumped in before having all the knowledge about the protocol. I just sort of jumped straight in, and I sort of just started learning the protocol as I went, you know, and which I don't recommend to anyone else, but yeah, I did. I did 40 days. You know, the first, I don't know, 5 to 10 days might not have been full protocol, but after that, I was pretty much on protocol, and I just could not believe what was coming out of me. And the more and more that I was releasing, the more it just made sense that everything Gino was saying about the state of the human body and how backed up we are with all this crap, and that crap is causing all our physical and mental issues with our health. It just made sense. So I just kept going and deeper, and I never felt so empowered in what I was doing, and with the knowledge that, hey, I'm really doing something here. I'm actually changing my health. That was the first time in my whole life I'd ever felt that way, because I could see, like, the worms and stuff that came out of me initially was just incredible, and some of them were still wriggling, you know, like,
Oh my
it was
God.
just
Really?
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, live worms coming out, and I found I found Dr. Morse after I found Gino and the Master Fast, and so I started like leaning a bit more towards Dr. Morse, because I don't know, he just had this, no offense, Gino, but he had this incredible way of articulating himself, and you know, a lot of people know that, and I was leaning more towards his, you know, modes of healing, and because I guess maybe because it was slightly less extreme to the dry fasting side of things, you know, and it involved, you know, all the glorious fruits and all the rest. And so I started developing this conflict between what I was doing with the Master Fast and what I was learning through Dr. Morse, you know, because of the cooked grape juice and that sort of thing. And so I finished that 40 days, and I felt great, and all my, like, I will never do another colonoscopy, but I had blood tests and stool tests, and all my inflammation markers went from like several hundred to like less than 10. And I thought, well, this is it. This is the answer, you know. I'm never going back to that system.
What
And
markers? Like what blood test?
there was the C-reactive protein and fecal calprotectin, which was the kind of, over here it's like the second best measure of inflammation in the bowels, apart from seeing it on a colonoscopy. And so I kind of followed Dr. Morse a bit more after that, and I just wasn't feeling good eating, you know, like that was when I first encountered all the emotional addictions and all the rest to food, and I couldn't stop eating, you know. And I felt like what has happened, I've removed these layers, and now I'm like to the point of no return. Like, I can't go back to the normal ways of, I just can't deal with food in the same way. And I still experience that now. There's like it's like a void, a feeling of a void, you know, because some part of me still wants to like attach to that side, that emotion of eating, which has been a part of my life, you know, up until now. And like, I still really enjoy food. I mean, who doesn't, you know,
Who doesn't? You think we don't? We do.
Pardon?
We enjoy food.
Yeah,
We enjoy food too, but we enjoy
yeah,
food more. And it can be a
yeah.
tricky one. It can be a definitely tricky one because I feel food is a trap.
It
I enjoy it a
is,
little bit too much, and
as
then
I've been experiencing it.
Sorry.
Yeah. Like right now, I at the moment, you know, it's been 7 weeks since I broke my 108 days, and I started off pretty well. You know, the first 4 weeks I followed the protocol, and but now I just can't stop eating. You know, and you can see the inflammation in my face. I've got edema, you know, pretty bad at the moment.
yeah, you don't look bad. It feels
But
worse than it is. Just to let you know, it feels much worse than it is. Don't it
yeah,
because you feel it much more intensely than when you're not, like, because your body's clean, right? So you feel it much more intensely. You get depressed. If you ate it before, you wouldn't be depressed, but now your body's clean.
Very sensitive the body becomes, right? For everything.
yeah,
It
definitely.
yeah, it gives you the answers very clearly the next day when you eat.
Yeah, like, I mean,
Yeah, oh, even sooner than that for me.
as I said,
Yeah.
like when I don't eat well, I really feel it and I don't like it and I feel depressed maybe and a little bit inflamed. But meanwhile, people are telling me, oh, you look amazing. You look even better than before. I'm like, you have
Yep.
absolutely no clue. Yeah.
Yep.
But it can feel much worse than it is. So like, try not to be hard on yourself. It's a learning
Yeah.
experience. You had a taste of the past. I wanted to ask you, why did you go back to, so you did 40 days and then you went with raw fruits and vegetables mainly, right? Like
Yeah, that's right.
low
Yeah.
fat, low protein and all that.
Yeah. I was just eating fruit pretty much, you know.
Nice. And then you decided to do 108.
I did before I did 108, I did another 30 days of master fast.
Why did you
And
decide to go back after eating fruits and vegetables raw?
because I slipped up and I made some bad decisions and I felt worse and worse and I just had to go back. I had a taste and I had a taste for fasting and I had to go back, you know.
Absolutely.
And I did the 30 days and I had a pretty, I think on that one I had a pretty bad healing crisis and I was stuck in bed for, you know, many days and I broke the fast because it was in the middle of me transitioning. I was going back to work at that time
That's
and yeah, and I had I had job interviews and stuff that I had to be ready for, and I had all the cold and flu stuff, and I had to break it. So
that's stressful too, right? And you know,
yeah, it is.
when we're stressed,
Yeah,
what do we do? We go to food,
We believe food's going to help us.
yep,
comfort.
exactly. And then I went. Oh, how long did I go? I went back onto food, and I didn't slip up as bad this time, but I was, you know, just eating. I started off with the fruit and then eating just mostly vegan foods and, you know, bits of cooked food and stuff. And I just wasn't feeling the best. I was just feeling backed up again. So,
Mhm.
and it was, I was backed up, but I was still having that raw exposure to my emotions. Like at the end of that fast, my emotions were coming to the surface and they kind of stayed there no matter how much I was backing myself up with food. So I kind of, I don't know. I just felt like more fasting was the answer to try and address that. So I said, you know, I just went back onto, I went for the 108 days, and I didn't really have the mindset of at the beginning of how many days I was going to do. I knew I had to do more.
Do you find
Um,
it easier to deal with emotions when you're fasting than when you're eating?
oh, 100%. Yes, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Except, I mean, it does like in my 108 days, it got really, really intense, you know, like at about day 80 is where it got really emotional, and it was really heavy.
The mind's
But yeah, I just felt like I was digging deeper and deeper into the, you know, the source of a lot of my problems, and because you know, like the deeper you go, the more days you go, the deeper and deeper you dig, and
mm-hmm.
and it was really heavy, but it was, you know, still a lot. Like I'm still dealing with a lot of emotions at the moment, and I really want to get back onto a fast, but I just can't. I can't physically do it at the moment. I'm not in a state where I can commit to it.
Take it easy.
Are you are you keeping some dry fasting, Wendell? Your daily, weekly?
I'll be absolutely honest with you guys. I have struggled to keep my dry fasting up. The most I've ever fasted in the 7 weeks since my 108 is 22 hours. You know, it's
Yeah.
Not as easy as fasting.
Oh, it's incredible. Like I was doing, you know, 72 hours easily. I think I did 80 hours was the longest I did on Master Fast, and now I can't even do 24 hours. But I'm trying to work on being compassionate to myself, because
the deep psychological, emotional stuff. It's once we went without food for so long, the program is that triggers that us to want to keep eating and eating and eating. Fear. Yeah, there's that fear. It's deep within, and we in that belief system, there's that we have to eat because we went with food for so long, and this is just something that we're going to have to work with and train ourselves slowly but surely to build a confidence and then come to the understanding that we can go a long time without food, a long time. We're just instead of using energy from food sources, three-dimensional foods, we're using a different source of energy. In fact, once that belief and understanding comes to light, then your faith and your trust will go more and more as you experience this.
The belief and understanding come with
experience. The experience, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not going to come on its own. I don't believe you. You just want to practice over and over and over, and then you're like, what? Like, this is crazy. This is the opposite of what I have learned. But you keep doing it, and you feel amazing on it, and then it becomes your belief system. And no matter what people say to you, you feel it. You feel great. You know you can do it.
Yeah, you know, I've seen so many people, thousands, trying to go with breatharian. They don't eat for a few months or whatever, and then next thing you know, they're back on food. You know, because you just can't switch and say I'm not going to eat no more. It's training. You got to train yourself.
Yeah. So what you're doing now, this is, in my opinion, this is normal. Okay. So try not to make yourself feel bad about it. Okay. Because this is how we learn how to go to much less lifestyle, less and less food. Now, I mean, you sit down with yourself and decide what you believe at this moment, like for within the next year, within from now until 1 year from now, what lifestyle do you believe is best for you? You know, so you want to sit down with yourself and just write it down and somehow make it work. Make it happen. If it's not completely massive fast, which is the highest level I would say that we can do, then step down a little bit, maybe do massive fast weekly where you eat 1 day or 2 days a week. If this is too much for you, you're not ready for this, go down and maybe do maybe 9 days a month, you know, divine 9 cycle. So see what works for you, but do something and train your body to fast and eat and just fall in love with a new lifestyle. I don't know, or maybe 2 days a week you're doing master fast and maybe 1 day dry fast, and then the rest of the week you're eating clean. But you want to sit down, you want to write a program and go shopping, you know, go grocery shopping and enjoy your fast. You don't want to take a long break. See what works for you. Decide and go for it.
Really focus on sticking with the dries, 12 hours a day at least, 12 to 14, 24 a week, and go for that 3 days a month to reset. It's going to really help you. You can do it.
Yeah,
You
I
can
mean,
do it. You just got to
write your goals. Because without
clear.
goals, you're not gonna do it. If you don't have it in your head that this is what I'm gonna do, you're not going to do it. You're addicted. We're all addicted. Once you start eating, it's not easy. So write down, make a nice program that is doable for you at the moment. Maybe from until a year from now, this is your goal for now. And maybe next year, make another goal. Maybe you can write it now, but you don't have to do it. Maybe you can change it later. Because we do change our goals as well.
So if you did a 40, a 30, and then 108, what went on in those 3 different experiences?
The first one, I guess maybe I should list out, all the things that I was dealing with at the time. Obviously, in the physical, I had the Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis, and I also sort of had really bad fatigue, I'd call it chronic fatigue. Just always tired no matter how much sleep I got. Which, then led me to see doctors about sleep, and, they told me I had mild sleep apnea, and so I ended up, wearing the splint to sort of open up my airway, and then I did more sleep tests, and they put me on the breathing machine, and that was the most uncomfortable thing, because my mother, she has sleep apnea, and she sleeps with the machine every single night. And sinuses, always chronic sinus congestion. I'm still working through that at the moment, but I just remember that I would be constantly taking nasal decongestant drugs every day. Like, I had migraines, I had nosebleeds all the time, and I'd be taking the pseudoephedrine decongestant all the time for my sinuses. The depression and the anxiety was a big one. I had really bad gas and flatulence, which my family could tell you all about, because I used to fart non-stop, and the smell was horrendous.
I was there many years ago, man. 4 hours.
When you have Crohn's, it means there's ulcers inside. It means.
Oh yeah, and I could see on the colonoscopy footage, I had these big ulcers, and I didn't have the most discomfort, physically, like other people have, and all the diarrhea and all that sort of stuff. I didn't really have that. If anything, I was probably more constipated than anything, and but I had the ulcers in my mouth. So if I've got ulcers in my mouth, they're from head to toe. So, and I also had shoulder pain from a football injury and playing rugby, and it was really bad, and it kind of developed into like this back pain because of at the time I thought it was because I had sort of imbalances from the weakness in my shoulder, and I had this chronic back pain, which kind of led to the start of me just becoming so depressed because I was just completely overwhelmed with this physical back pain that took over my life. I couldn't sit at my desk. I couldn't drive in a car without this chronic pain. And now it's all gone, but I feel like that was more like, now that I've experienced like the kidney types of pain in the back through fasting, I think that was more along the lines of, related to my kidneys, not so much the shoulder pain.
Yeah, it's all related.
The whole back is kidneys, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's what I kind of tend to believe as well, because I draw the dots between when I'm going through certain things and fasting, and the way that my kidneys feel and how backed up I am. Yeah, so
when I do yoga on the master fast, especially when I go a little bit like further, I have
Mm-hmm.
much less injuries than when I'm eating. Even when I was eating raw foods, I used to injure myself doing yoga daily. But on the master fast, it's just my joints, everything flows, and like there are no injuries. If like
Yeah.
it doesn't happen, it almost
That,
disappears.
that was the other thing. I was like developing rheumatoid arthritis as well in my joints, and yeah, you're right. Just on the fast, you cannot explain it to someone who hasn't experienced it. That feeling of being so light and free moving through your joints and just not having anything in your GI tract. It's an amazing feeling.
Yeah, obstructions is really the word that defines what's going on in the body. Obstructions,
Yeah, starts
stagnation,
with the
right?
bowels and then the kidneys and the whole body.
The 3D foods obstruct. I don't care what it is, just different levels of obstruction, from light obstructions, medium to higher obstruction foods. And people who go through these long MFSs, they will come to understand very clearly when they start eating
Yeah,
about how food is obstructive.
like juices do not obstruct you nearly.
Not the cooked juice. The cooked juice cleans you.
I mean, even raw juice, it's still not gonna be. I mean, if you drink green juice, it's still you're not really you're not harming yourself. Your joints are still fine.
It's
But you
just,
add the food, the solid
just not
food,
the
when
same.
you start chewing and
No,
it's
I
in
know,
your
but
belly.
the raw juices just don't. They don't do.
Yeah, but if you
cooked
feel
juice
like
do.
orange juice sometimes,
Yeah, there's no big deal.
and you are fasting, like as a lifestyle,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you probably want sometimes to change. So nice.
So the first 30-day master fast, I got rid of a lot of parasites and worms and stuff, and I think there was, I had plaque coming out of me as well, and like mucoid plaque and stuff, coming out as well, and just so many different things coming out of me, and it just opened up my eyes, and it just all made sense in what you were saying, and like initially my inflammation markers with my Crohn's, all that sort of went down. It only took 30 days to have a significant impact on my bowels, and my mind was so much clearer. Everything was just better. So I had that taste, and I had to go back for more, and I got kidney filtration like really quickly as well. Like it pretty much happened straight away, which I was quite surprised by. And I was like, watching all the videos, and I'm like, oh, this is incredible. I've got I had jars of my urine all around the house, and my wife's like freaking out, and this is disgusting. Get rid of it, and I was so proud of it. I'm like putting it up on the bench, and look at the video, and look what I'm doing, and so that was really good, and on the 40-day master fast, much of the same, except not as many parasites and things coming out of me. I think we got rid of a fair bit of that in the first fast, but and then the 108 was really like, I had some big releases that came out of me. Lots of plaque, and every dry fast that I did, I would have a really big release at the end of it. Even 24 or 36 hours. It was just, I just remember that feeling of like during the dry fast, you get maybe 20 hours into the dry fast, and then everything starts rumbling in your GI tract, and you feel things moving, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be a good one. There's going to be some big release. And like I took lots of photos of big long things of mucoid plaque and a few big worms and stuff, and it's you want to be able to share that with people, but not many people want to see that stuff.
Yeah. There's no way I have that stuff inside me. I was one of them.
Oh, yeah. Where does it all come from?
And you did it without the psyllium, charcoal, and clay. He had ropes come out of him.
Yep.
He said he had to open like his door, his windows,
Horrific
the hall.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah. That's when you know that like it's old, deep, dark stuff from childhood or whatever. Like the smell is horrible.
It also, we release bile. It comes also
Yeah.
further on the master fast. It's like yellowish release. The smell is horrific.
It's just the
The
whole
bile
step.
is toxic, really, from the liver.
I started releasing bile sort of in the later days of my, up around 60 days onwards. I started getting a lot of bile. Not sure what was happening, but
The liver's being.
I had faith.
It takes a while for the liver to release the bile.
And then, as I sort of had previously talked about in the videos, when I got to around that 80-day mark, and it just got really heavy with the emotional stuff, and it was related to how much I was releasing through my bowels as well. There was this direct connection. I was doing so many enemas, just because I didn't have the Colima board or anything like that. I didn't get one, but I was just doing it all with enemas, and I was doing, like almost 20 liters with enemas, and it just was taking so much. Yeah, I was doing like 4 liters at a time. I'd put two liters in, and then I'd have a spare 2-liter bottle that was full, and I'd pour that in the top as I'm going. And I could easily hold 4 liters in my colon.
Wow.
And at the moment, I struggle to get 2 liters. It's just everything cramps up.
It's obstructed.
Yeah, it's too obstructed. And
what would you say? How are your bowels moving now after the 108?
They're moving. I'm still moving unassisted. Maybe 2 or 3 movements a day.
Is it
Pardon? Oh yeah, definitely. Like even during the final days of the fast, I started without enemas. My bowels were just wanting to move, and it was like I was starting to get the super bowels. I could feel that. And then when I broke my fast and I started eating fruits, as soon as I would start eating, things would start moving. So, and I never had that before before master fast.
Exactly. What would you say to people that say enemas damage you?
Oh, it's not true. Yeah, I've done a lot of enemas, and it doesn't. My bowels are better than they were, so I can't say that enemas can damage your bowels. They've only made them better, in my opinion.
You can do it every day for the rest of your life.
Yeah, definitely. As long as you're eating.
Yeah.
As long as you're eating. If you become vegetarian as a colon hydrotherapist, I would say you're okay.
Yeah.
Or liquidarian.
Like I can't live without enemas anymore, because I just like now, and it's like this cycle that I'm in at the moment with the eating. I don't want that stuff sitting in there, so I want to keep moving things. It's just the tools of the master fast that I've learned is you have to keep things moving.
Yeah, this is the key. Why we learn to love to fast more than we eat, and what I mean by that is we can't go back to eating 7 days a week. It's just too much food. It's way too.
Yeah.
We do our very best to stay off of 7 days a week eating. 6 days absolute maximum per week of eating. And as the time goes on, we reduce that and less and less.
I mean, yeah, write down your goals at any level. It can be 6 days a week of eating, but write down goals and follow them. Everybody has their own pace. They have their own lifestyle, different circumstances. So everybody's different. So just make something that works for you. Any level, you decide, because you know your life better than anyone else. I want to ask you, you said towards day 80 you started having like it was harder for you, right? A little bit harder. It was deeper. Did you lose a lot of weight?
Yeah, I got I lost a lot more weight. I I got down to about 60 kilograms, which is probably, I don't know, 130 pounds or something.
How tall are you?
I'm 183 centimeters,
Yeah.
6 foot.
So I think that you're tall, right?
My normal weight before Master Fast was about 85 to 90 kilograms. So like I was always that's something I didn't discuss was, the fact that I was into the bodybuilding and all the rest. And, I got quite heavy. I got up to around 100 kilos at one stage at my heaviest. And now I'm sort of sitting around 65 kilograms.
You're 65
I
now?
lost. Yeah, I'm about 65, but I got as low as 60 during the Master Fast.
Well, that's not bad. So you didn't gain too much weight in the past 7 weeks.
Actually, that's probably a lie. I'm probably heavy. I'm probably more like 70 at the moment. I haven't weighed myself.
Yeah, 5 kilos is not much.
Yeah.
It's probably more, right?
Yeah, it's probably more like 70, 75.
When we don't eat, when we eat heavy food, we hold water, which will
Hold
weigh,
fluid, yeah.
which will more. So I'm thinking, it was harder also psychologically and emotionally was harder for you towards the end of the fast. I'm thinking most likely big part of it is that you lost a lot of weight and then you started getting criticized by others, right? It was for me, so I can.
Yeah, I mean there was a couple of instances, being around family where I had difficulty dealing with those situations. My mother and father, they just have no understanding of what I'm doing, and they won't listen to, I've offered to explain to them about the reasons and what I'm actually doing and what I've changed. And they know I've changed. Like they've seen me, they've been by my side when I was in the depths of my depression, and they came and visited me every single day in hospital, and they saw what an absolute mess I was. And surely they can see me now. I'm like, I've come so far, and they just don't put it two and two together. They don't see the connection between what I've been doing and this, my physical and emotional health at the moment. Like they don't. It just and it frustrates me because they have so much fear around what I'm doing, and it's so, like, for someone like my father, at one time he got so upset and he lashed out and he stormed off. He raised his temper and he got really upset because of the fact that I just wasn't eating. I had made a choice to be fasting, and he wanted me to eat, and it was like he wanted someone else to do something, and because that person didn't do it, it made him so upset, and he couldn't be with me in the room. He had to storm off.
Yeah.
And,
I think it's very important for us to learn how to do it with them around us, of course, because we don't want to be away from, not see our families. Because if it's a lifestyle, then they will get used to you eventually. But it's very important for us to do our best to make it a loving way, whatever you can do, even help them cook, okay? Like be with them in the kitchen, help them cook, help them clean after them, like somehow get involved so that they don't feel. And plus, by the way, when you're fasting, you have more energy to help, because they eat, they want to sleep. I mean, I did eat with them not too long ago, and I feel like
it's like after a family meal, you like look around like, where is everyone? Like everyone's laying on the couch or like resting, and I'm like, let's go for a walk or let's go to the park or something.
Remember last week at the cottage, I went to bed after dinner, and you're like, was like, get up, what's wrong with you? Everybody's
Yeah.
outside. I'm like, I can't do anything. And
That's something I notice at the moment, you know, being on food is just the fatigue after eating all the time. And even like with a fruit meal, I still feel a bit fatigued even just to digest that, you know.
Yeah.
But I think it's probably got a lot to do with the fact that, you know, there's other foods in there and it's all, you know, there's fermentation and there's all that sort of stuff happening as well. Because I'm not just eating fruit at the moment. I'm not going to lie.
do your best, yeah. But with the family, just do your best to be involved with them. But don't eat. You don't have to eat. They will get used
Yeah.
to you. Trust me. And my family is very hard too, but they will get used to it because they can't do anything about it. They know. And they have seen me lose weight, gain weight, so they know I'm still alive, you know? And then I lose weight again, and then I get so they know I'm still alive, I'm not dead. Yeah, they get used to you, you get used to them. Just make it as much as you can. It's not worth it to fight.
It's very difficult when someone's belief system is challenged. Very.
Yeah.
Food is one of the biggest for people.
Also, when
Massive.
our belief system is challenged, once we start believing that fasting is the way to go, you just can't.
Yeah.
Because you feel so great.
At least you feel great. They don't.
Yeah.
You're complaining. Everybody's cabin is full of drugs.
Everybody's sick. We used to be. Right, Andrew? We used to be sick. We used to
Yeah.
stressed and like it was not a life. It's hard to change. You know, you're changing. You're transforming.
Yeah.
Nobody around you is changing. You're the
That's
only
right.
one who's transforming. So there is a battle there. There is, you know, it's not very easy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of the things, like I'm now, my mindset is all about, I have to be, what's the word, like expanding, ascending, you know, like getting better and better each day. That's my focus. And I accept that even though at the moment I'm not doing so well, you know, after the fast, I'm trying to be kind to myself and accept that this is all part of it. You know, this is absolutely necessary to learn about really what's going on with food and my emotions and all the rest. And so it's a necessary step in me keeping moving forward. And yeah, like you said, you look around and no one else is doing that. No one else is bettering themselves in physical, spiritual, in all those ways. No one is interested in that, and it's hard to function in this world when everyone is just stuck in that
You're different.
way, you know.
When the statement that eating and healing do not belong in the same sentence really sinks in, then we come to the light of eliminating days out of the week as much as we can, comfortably. It's going to take time. You know, we start absolute minimum 1 day a week without food. That's in between our master fast, because we're always in that phase of being on a master fast some way, shape, or form, through the dry fasting, through longer fast, through a mini, whatever, you know. And it comes to the light when that understanding starts to shine. Also, you mentioned before I forget, about healing crisis. I don't believe in any healing crisis during the fast. Healing crisis happen when you're going through treatment through pharmaceuticals. Those are crises. When you're fasting, the body knows exactly what it's doing. It's a healing reaction. And you just have to have that faith and trust. We always, always, always come out stronger after a healing reaction. Yeah. Always. Yeah. That's not the case with healing crisis with pharmaceuticals. Always, always, always come out weaker, more imbalanced. So that's a big difference. And people use these terminologies, and I don't feel comfortable with them because the understanding has the new understanding has come to the surface for me, and it's
we want to have the reaction.
yeah, like the body. Let me put it this way: the body doesn't know how not to heal. It's an impossibility. The only thing that stands in the way is the things we do to it. Eating, number one, and
It's
then
your energy.
all the other things, treatments and so on and so forth.
So there's no energy for detoxing. You stop eating.
Yeah, it's like it's the default program. It's the default mechanism is to heal, is to keep cleaning whatever you put into it.
Right.
Keep.
So, you know,
Yes, absolutely.
The body's main function is to keep you alive. To stay healthy, it's you. It's your responsibility. The body's going to do whatever it has to do through its program to keep you alive. But to keep yourself healthy, it's you that has to make the decisions to either be in sync with the universe or be in dissonance with the universe. Balance and imbalance. That's really the simplicity of all this. That's why I move away and more so from all the other stuff about vitamins, this, that, amino acids, fats, calories.
Like it's up to you.
I don't want to hear that stuff anymore.
To abuse your body. Like if you just leave the body alone, then it does the thing.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. It's up to you to be healthy. So if you're, it's a lot of work to abuse the body. You have to eat 3 meals a day, 7 days a week, and you got to do that for many years. So
we grew up doing it.
Yeah, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. You're abusing it, and you're doing it over and over and over, ignoring the consequences of doing it every time. Yeah, but that's the program, right? The program is abuse. We all done it. We're all still doing it, and the awareness keeps expanding through our experiences of more and more fasting. The biggest challenge is living in a society that doesn't accept, has total ignorance of what we're doing. That's the biggest challenges for people. We've seen many family members being driven to death, being forced to go back to doctors. We've seen that over the years many times. What are you going to do? This is the society we live. It's ludicrous that we cannot do whatever we want to our own bodies.
Yeah.
We go through the system. We put people in psychiatric wards and start injecting them, and it's just ludicrous. Ludicrous.
Yeah. We, my wife and I recently had an experience where our 4-year-old daughter, we were getting bullied by other family members to take her to doctors and give her antibiotics for some sores that she had, just like a viral kind of thing. And it's just ridiculous. Like, I knew what had to be done. I just wanted to fast her and get her through it, and or at least get her on fruits and stuff. And
yeah,
so
it's
how old is she?
She's 4. She just turned 4. Yeah. It's,
Michelle posted that leg of a dog that got into a fight that was ripped open to the bone.
Yeah.
A month later, it's almost completely healed.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Antibiotics. No, it's mass fast protocol.
Well, I think I just wanted to say, when you were talking about before about something along the lines of, like, when you realize that you don't get anything from food, we're not getting energy from food, it changes everything. It changes absolutely everything. And it's just so, like, it allows you to focus on so much else.
Other possibilities, even though
yeah,
nobody's doing it. Let's open up the other possibilities, because everything's possible. Just like the 4-minute mile. Nobody believed it was possible until one man said, "It is, and I'm going to do it," and he did it.
Yeah. But the fast, it brings that to light so clearly, especially after my 108-day master fast.
Yeah.
That I'm not getting anything from food. Like, I'm in a cycle of eating at the moment, but I don't want that food. Like, I don't want to eat it. It's not giving me a single thing at all other than the pure pleasure in the moment. That's it.
Right.
It's not giving me anything else. It's giving me, well, it is giving me something else. It's giving me edema. It's giving me pain, and it's all the rest.
Yeah. It's exactly that. Those 30 seconds of the taste pleasure that we get, and then it hits the stomach. Okay, that's over. Let me do it again.
Yeah.
Let me do it again.
So where do you stop? It just keeps going on and on and on, you know, if you don't.
This is why we train ourselves to minimize the eating times. When we do it, let's enjoy it. Let's embrace it. Yeah, we're gonna pay the price a little, depending on what it is. You know, if we leave it to the least obstructive stuff, it's not going to be so bad. You know, we can enjoy that. But when we start removing these obstructions more and more, man, it all comes very clear, very clear. So we just keep ourselves.
I actually, like, my body's been giving me all these signs that it doesn't want to be eating. And about 3 weeks ago, I ate something like this. I went to this raw vegan restaurant, and this dish that I had, I think it had like lots of nuts and seeds and stuff in it. And
you got to be real careful with that.
And I had this, my sinuses went crazy, and I had this build-up of sinus pressure. And I was in bed for 7 days off work because the pain was pushing against my eardrum. It was the worst pain I've ever had.
That's one thing that really people have to have that understand after a long fast, to stay away from those heavy fats and the protein stuff and the grains. You know, start getting into like baked sweet potato, baked beet would be better. You know, baked carrot, stuff like that, stewed spinach, whatever. You know, there's so many other things we can do.
Also, do your best to eat your own food, because once you eat from outside, it's going to be salty, oily, and the whole thing.
Yeah, salt's a killer at the moment.
Yeah, and that's have the protein and the fat, right? They have both of those concentrations, and it's the soul of the plant, right? The seed.
Yeah. Yep. And so I had this sinus pressure, and my nose is running, and mucus is coming out my throat, and it burst my eardrum. The pressure burst my eardrum. So I'm still trying to heal my hearing in this ear because it's not 100%.
Just backed up in the head.
Yeah, like the pressure built up, and it pushed through and opened up the eardrum, and now I've got mucus coming out of my ear.
Wow.
So every night I wake up in the middle of the night and drain mucus out of my ear.
3-day
dry fast, my brother.
Yeah, I know that'll fix it.
Please do liquid fast, okay? Just do master fast, liquid. Drink 3 liters to stop the cravings. Do the enemas, you know.
Go for some green juices for a day or two, and then clear out the bowels. Go for a dry fast, honestly. Just set it in your mind and just go for it. You're gonna feel much better. Eating and healing do not belong in the same sentence. We got to really drive that home and have the understanding of what that really means. As you know, I make the statement that food's the #1 killer, and people make all kinds of weird comments to me. It's just the understanding is not there. It's in plain sight that food is the #1 killer by far.
Yeah, absolutely.
Other people don't have to agree with me. It's okay. Because
or the #1 also for shorter life as well.
Yeah, suffering is just food, man.
Yeah.
So when we eat, not saying to people to stop eating completely, but when we eat, we enjoy it fully, but we minimize it and keep it clean as we can. That's the key. That's the goal. It's a lifestyle. We learn to love the lifestyle of fasting because we're tapping into other energy sources instead of that 3D-dimensional foods, and that's as simple as it gets.
I want to add that I believe for me, I felt, Master Fast, full Master Fast was the best, right? Because Master Fast weekly was like interrupting my routine, my Master Fast, and then once you start eating and chewing, there's a little bit of temptation to eat the next day. And it's just abuse. I felt I was abusing my body, no question. When you do, you eat 1 day a week for 90 days, let's say, or 60 days, you feel like you're abusing your body. One day a week, you're abusing your body. And when I do colonic day after, it's black, okay? Like a lot of waste comes out from one day of eating.
Yeah.
Crazy. But the only thing that was tough when I do long master fast or master fast weekly was that weight loss. You know, I lose a lot of weight. That was the only downside to the master fast. That I lose a lot of weight. Otherwise, I would.
I actually like it. I like that feeling of being.
Yeah.
I like the new me, like being lighter, and I don't know. People have fear about it.
Amazing, small.
Yeah. Oh, it's.
But the criticism.
Yeah.
Too much.
It's just after a few years, you won't lose that much weight.
Yeah, this is the thing. I want to get to that point where I'm muscular. I want to work out. I want to be strong. From day one, I want to just keep going with like yoga or, you know, Ashtanga or, you know, power yoga. Yeah, that's the only thing that would stop me and maybe some other people from doing. I mean, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to do it. It's nice to be married to this man. This way, my family has no say anymore. This guy's responsible for me. He's my husband. That's the best part about being married to Gino. If anybody says something, I'm like, talk to my husband.
Yeah, they know the deal now.
Yeah, it's all the experiences we've seen so many people going through these experiences, and everybody's looking for that quick fix in that 108 day. Everybody's looking to solve all the problems in 108 days. We never said that. It's a lifestyle. Never said that. Once you come to that understanding that it's a lifestyle, and people are starting to get that. A few people are really starting to get that. And a few people have been living the lifestyle, and the results are there. So what? You fall off the wagon here and there. They just keep coming back and keep digging, as we say. Got to keep going. Make your goals for 9 years. When 9 years is up, make another 9-year goal, and then another 9-year goal. Is what else are you going to do? Go back to eating? Like, seriously. Everybody else is doing that out there. Eating and healing do not belong in the same sentence. So once that's driven into our psyche and we believe it, then we start reducing the number of days per week that we eat. Only then. Only once that understanding comes to the surface. Because the ignorance in fasting is vast.
Yeah, you know, at the end of the day, just do your best.
Fasting is about abundance, not abstinence or, lacking or whatever. It's about abundance. Tapping into a different source of energy. That's all it is. People can call it prana or, light, like plasma, whatever. But yeah, it's just tapping into that ultimate source of energy, the universal energy that's within all of us.
Also, when you fast, when you eat, it's easier when you fast, get into meditation, prayer, to calm yourself down and learn how to get the energy as well from the universe. Because
I'd never meditated before, a year ago or 18 months ago, and it's incredible. Like, that's one of the non-physical changes about this lifestyle is how much you can open yourself up to allow things to come into your reality, and actually play a part in creating that reality as well. My background as a indoctrinated engineer with a scientific mind, this is never something I would have ever contemplated. Meditation and spirituality, and
exactly.
I've had numerous divine experiences where things have happened that are just unexplainable, and so many instances of pure love and gratitude, and it's an incredible feeling.
Yeah, so that's remember those times and tap into those times. When you're writing your goals, and when the next time you reach for food, think about those times.
Yeah.
Because
And like I've,
it's not going to happen with food. Andrew, how
No.
long? How many times have we tried it with food?
yeah, I mean, right now I feel completely just shut down
Yeah.
spiritually, you know, like
Yeah.
you just can't, I can't meditate properly or to the same effect, you know, I can't go as deep when I'm eating. It's just not possible. And I've always had those divine moments, usually after like a 3-day dry fast or something. I have this
Right.
half a day where I'm just incredibly full of just divine love and gratitude, and no one can say anything to make me feel any different. It's incredible, those moments.
So enjoy your food, make better choices with the food, do your best. But enjoy
Mm-hmm.
your food at the moment because you're not in the mood of fasting. But remember to sit down with yourself and write down goals that are doable.
Yeah.
When you're ready, just sit down, write down goals that are doable for you for the next year, and that's it. Do them. Make an effort to do it. They don't have to be hard or challenging. Just do what you can. Start somewhere. And it's not, I understand it's not easy. And that's why I say when you're ready, sit down and go. Right now, enjoy your food. Make better
Yeah.
Always make better choices. I know it's hard.
Yeah. I appreciate that advice, and I know that I will, like when the time is right, I will get back into some better patterns, and I definitely want to do another master fast in the near future. So 'cause I didn't get all the way, you know, there's still plenty of digging to do.
But what was your dry fasting schedule like? I think you mentioned it before, but
Yeah, I started off doing normally about like 14 to 15 hours, but I took Rana's advice around about that 50-day mark where I was probably digging a bit too deep, and I just took it back to like 12, 13 hours daily. And then every week I was doing 36 hours, and I was doing the monthly 72 hours as well. Towards the end, I couldn't quite get to 70 hours towards the end. But,
I would slow down. 36 is still too much for a weekly. We say 24
for somebody new on, yeah, within, you know,
because you want to keep it as a lifestyle.
less than a couple of years, be careful.
And also because you want it as a lifestyle, not just a month or 2 months, 3 months. It's a lifestyle. So do something that works. And minimum, I do the minimum. I do 12 hours, 24 hours, and once a month, 48 hours. When I'm doing master fast, this is what I do because I am digging deep. And most importantly, I don't want to lose too much weight too fast. So maybe I follow the minimum dry fasting because on the dry I lose a lot of weight very fast, and especially on my face. So people think I am sick, but I'm not. You know. Yeah.
Anybody have any questions for Andrew?
Yeah, I do. For Andrew, I do, because there's something I resonate with him in regards to having other people around you while you're going through this process, because you do feel so alone. And, you know, I like to connect with Andrew a little bit more because I don't know many people around my area, and sometimes you just want to pick up a phone and just say, hey, you know, feeling a bit down today. I maybe ate something and I feel really sick, and because you can only talk to people that are going through the experience. And that's something I like to offer Andrew from me to him and me to you, because I know my husband, he accidentally fasts, so he doesn't actually do the fasting experience with me, and he's going through some body changes, but I can't explain it to him. I said, you just got to go through your personal experience. But I know if he had another male person talk to him through it, then, you know, that would help him, and maybe I could help your wife, because it's an accidental thing for your partners that it happens. They're not going through the understanding, the knowledge, and being part of a community, and there's not many people around us that are doing what we're doing and they don't understand, and you just need to sort of that confirmation. You know, having the community group is fantastic, what you've done, Gino and Rana, but you just want to have that personal contact with someone. You just want to feel, touch, and yeah, so that's something I like to offer Andrew, and you know, and vice versa, because I just really, that love feeling that you have, you know, that when you are fasting and then you're manifesting and all these things are happening, these spiritual changes are happening, because you're right, Gino, with what you said. The fastest way to connect with that, and I didn't realise, is through the physical body. And then when you do let go and you do become light, you have this elation of just absolute bliss. And you want to share that with someone because you can't explain it. It's just all within you. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to ask Andrew.
Oh, thank you so much. That's yeah, that's wonderful to know that you're close by, and yeah, I definitely will connect with you, and you know, we can offer each other support at any time. Yeah, and I'll be happy to speak with your husband.
Share on the group anytime you have a enlightening experience.
Yeah.
Other people.
So much support, feedback.
Yeah. Oh, the group is incredible.
What Rand's just said about, the statement you just said about, I ate something, I don't feel good. I ate something, I don't feel good. If that should ring home to people, because it's always, I ate something and I didn't feel good. It's always through that act. I ate something, I didn't feel good. When we stop eating and we don't feel good, we're healing. When we don't feel good, we're destroying ourselves. It's just the answers are in plain sight if we pay attention, and it's difficult for people's programming, which gets in the way to allow themselves to see how simple the answers are in plain sight. And you know, as the more you fast, the more the answers you'll see. And like you said, for yourself and myself, when I'm eating, I don't have that clear connection. It's fogged up. It's in a fast, it all clears up, and I'm in heaven.
Yeah, I've found myself one of the sort of not common, or something I would never have thought to be a result of fasting was just like letting go of, like, just losing interest in things that were part of, you know, the whole program. I didn't realize at the time, but you know, just material things.
Right.
I don't watch television anymore. I don't really listen to a lot of music.
Right.
I used to be a big sports guy. I have no interest in sports because it's just all, like, I feel like it's all part of the program to control and keep people divided and all the rest.
Yeah, I hear you.
I jump into the car and I drive to work and I can't even have the radio on. It just lowers my vibration, you know, like I can't listen to that crap. So I just have silence, or I have like a Zoom video on YouTube or something.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it sounds awesome. Yeah. You know, it's wonderful. You know, listening to everybody's experience. There's that wonderful line of similarities that everybody goes through, and the one key factor is the emotion that very few are willing to admit. This is where all the source of all our problems come through. It's through the emotion first, and then come into the physicality. And not an easy thing to deal with that. But you know, through training ourselves over and over and using the tools, getting into some of the GANS materials, zinc really will help. The essential oils are awesome for emotion. They're also in the high plasmatic GANS state. They feed the emotion. So, you know, the emotion gets fed through the airway and through the lungs and our physicality. This is something that we we either learn about it or we don't. And we come to accept that there's some higher order, some higher um, organized intelligence beyond our understanding, and it's all within. It doesn't matter where out there we're going to go look for it, and we're not going to find it. We got to go within, and that silence in the fast, it becomes magical.
Really, nothing like fasting.
It becomes magical. You connect to source.
Like you said, Andrew, I meditate, or I know I pray better when I'm fasting compared to when I'm eating. I don't like to pray when I'm eating,
Yeah.
Because it's blockages.
Oh, my meditations are, rubbish when I'm eating. They're just you just cannot get to the same place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It starts with fasting.
There's a lot of meditation around the world, and they all eat and stuff. I just don't know myself how they get into these states. I'm not saying it's not possible, but when you do get into these states through fasting, like, why would you want to eat?
It's best to do it through fasting. I don't know how. Yeah, it's much easier. Do a fast.
Yeah.
Fast retreat. With rather than eating vegan, sometimes rice and beans, and which is heavy.
Yeah.
And oil.
Yeah.
When we invest in ourselves, it's the cheapest way to live as well. Never mind all the benefits. It costs you next to nothing to live this way.
It's nice because you feel like you're self-sustained.
Yeah, it's total freedom.
Minimalism. You desire less.
Yeah, like I guess it's freedom because like I've like the medical system, it works on having so much fear in people, and that's how it controls them. And when you let go of that fear and realize that you are in control of your health, it's liberating in the sense that I know that I'll never ever have a major illness again, because it's not possible when you're living this way.
Exactly.
When you're constantly working on yourself and clearing obstructions, how can you ever get back into that state of disease? And so you let go of the whole doctor thing, and you know that you never have to see another doctor again, and it's fantastic. I don't get sick anymore,
Yeah. They're in our societies, there's purposes for them, the accidents and so on and so forth. But
yeah,
the healing part, we take care of it.
Yeah.
Each one and every one, it's our responsibility. Anybody else have any thing to say? Questions? Just staring out at some flowers in my mother's backyard here. It's such the simplest thing sometimes. It's just, wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I was just going to say my biggest bliss is when you are in a fasted state and you go for a walk and you pray and meditate in nature. I think that is just the most ultimate experience, and to do that, I was doing that regularly for a little while, and then I kind of stopped a bit because I started to eat. That's funny how the food comes in and just takes you away from, that presence of God, or, the Holy Spirit, or the universe, or whatever you want to call it. Because that is the point of those moments, of that bliss. But when I have been eating, I think I got this from you, Rana, is that I pray or sort of bless the food before I take it in, because I know I'm going to take it in, and I'm really aware of that situation, and I'm going, okay, I don't want to feel the pain, especially the next day, and that kind of helps a little bit by just, I find that eases me when I take it in. And so I picked that up from you, Rana, so that was really good, because you forget you forget to do these little tiny things to really help you along the journey. And Gina, when you said it, when you eat, enjoy that process of eating. And I was trying to, you've got to try and find a way to do that, because when you've been fasting, like I've only done mini fasts really. I mean, the longest one I've ever done is 21 days. And I want to prepare for a 40-day one after my birthday. So from the 26th of August, I'm trying to plan and think of all these things, because, I want to get through 40 days and maybe even press through a little bit further. And I want to do that before Christmas comes up and all the family stuff comes up, and be strong enough to say to them, I don't want to eat your food, or turn up late, or, sort of strategize around those things and be strong in that, because I am weak when it comes to, not weak, but vulnerable when it comes to social things around family, and especially because they still have, the cultural food and those things that go on, and it's all about pleasing, and, food is love, and that's how we love you, and you love us back by make sure you finish everything that's on the plate,
Right.
and all that sort of stuff that comes involved, all that cultural indoctrination that comes through. And I'm personally, I'm sure everyone goes through it. You personally fight against that, because you just love the people around you so much that you want to please them, and them to be happy and secure with their insecurities, that you will sacrifice yourself for them. And I know that I will do probably that, and I'm not strong enough. So these little tips that you give, about blessing the food and enjoying the food if you're having them, but I find that I need to prepare my body to eat. So if I do have cooked food, or if I do have curries, or and all that sort of stuff, I find that I have to get to a stage, and it takes me a few days to move my body towards that. And then you have a big feast, and you enjoy the feast, and you come out of the feast, and then you need to prepare yourself to get out of it, to get back into your normal MFS lifestyle. And so I'm sort of thinking about all those things, and going into that 40 days, and having those intentions set to say, hey, this is a lifestyle I want, and how to get through this journey, because it's just so personal, even though we have similarities in the group, but it's such a personal journey. And I think all these little tidbits that everyone gives, it really helps, and so I really appreciate that. But that's what I'm preparing to do. So from the 26th of August, I'm going to go into a 40-day, or maybe I should say 45-day, make it number 9, and, and go through that and see if I can push a little bit further, up to before Christmas if I can. But that's my goal. Yeah.
So many ways you can do it. Some people will go 30 days on, 30 days out, 40 days on, 40 days out, whatever. Find whatever works, because you want to be that lifestyle, right? Or weekly, you're doing so many days a week, or whatever, week on, week off.
Yeah, you want to make it work for you.
Everybody's going to find a different little system for themselves to be able to stick to it and thrive on it. But it's awesome. You can find that and tune into it, and it may change. It probably will change over the years, because you'll desire less food as time goes on. But we love it when we're eating. We love the food.
Funny, you're saying about the socializing with family. We had last week was all about socializing with family. This family inviting us, and this family, my dad is cooking a lot of food, and many people are over. I remember, like, when my dad serves you or someone, he's like, "Oh no, that's I'm like, I'm like, because they get offended, right? When you say no.
Mm-hmm.
Gino's used to that himself. He's been doing it for 28 years.
Yeah, my family got kind of used to it. Yesterday, my mother was telling Ran about when I was a baby. The little baby food jars. The little one, and they have the big one. Well, the little one wouldn't satisfy me, so she started buying me the big ones. And she said I would just.
Was it meat? Meat.
Meat, yeah,
She
meat.
was feeding him meat. She said the small wasn't enough. He wanted more.
Oh no.
So I got all that to deal with.
And I asked, did he drink milk? She's like, of course. He's like, liters of milk.
Yeah.
Your mom didn't breastfeed you, right?
No. So yeah, you know, it's tough. You know, we had to eat everything off our plate before we could leave.
But like your mom yesterday, she had a big smile when she was talking about your food. And I was like, you destroyed him. She was so happy. She was,
Because that's the love. The more you eat, the more they think you love.
until now, she believes.
You can't deprogram out of that, people. It's just forget it.
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
We give screaming babies bottles of milk to keep them quiet. So that's where the programming starts.
Right, exactly.
We shove food into them at birth, you know.
Yeah.
So that's why, Ranj, we have to be kind to ourselves when we go through these challenges with eating. Is that we're making the decision now to invest in this lifestyle, and we're making that choice to make things better for ourselves. But we have to remember where we came from, and that these addictions and things that have held us back have been built up over a lifetime of programming. So be kind to yourself in accepting that it's not going to be easy and there's going to be challenges along the way, but you keep moving forward. And it's like something that I've struggled with at the moment with eating and being addicted and getting into the cycle of eating, is that I eat, I feel depressed, I beat myself up, I'm ashamed, and then what do? I eat more and more and more.
Exactly.
Because that's the old program. That's the old program that I used to follow to suppress my emotions.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's even worse because my ego has like this newfound identity of the person that is now all about health and healing and discipline. So as soon as I slip up, it's like, it's a big thing. And because I've got, my ego wants to protect itself by shaming itself and all the rest, because you're going against this newfound path of healing. So just, you know, be patient and be loving towards yourself is what I would say, and take things slowly. It doesn't have to be a race. And
Right.
yeah.
Lifestyle, less is more. Just train yourself slowly over the years.
The most important thing, now mistakes, we're going to do them. We all do them. The most important thing is to get up and continue with your goal. It's not going to be perfect, but always, you know, when you're ready, get up and continue.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep moving in the right direction.
Watch Zooms.
All is well. All is well. Get refocused. Write those goals if you haven't written them. Rearrange them, whatever. And just keep moving. This is why it's so important for people to share. The sharing, oh my God. People will lock it all up.
And don't be ashamed. I know people are ashamed.
They're only going to get so far. If you hold it all in, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, don't be ashamed. Whoever you are, you know, please share. We have done mistakes. You know, the path of fasting lifestyle is not, you know, it's work. There's work of, you know, to eat less. To eat less, it's going to be work, you know, and to fast most of the week because you tasted fasting and you just fell in love with it. Yeah, most people will probably want to fast more. People who have done 108 or even 40 days and still will want to go back to fasting more. Yeah, it's not going to be easy to make it lifestyle, but get up and, you know, continue. Write down your goals. If this didn't work for you, then maybe write something else that works. What you call, yeah, and you were saying that when there's emotions like the guilt feeling, you punish yourself by eating more when you eat.
Yeah.
But also there is, I believe it's all connected. When we eat heavy, the heavy food is more obstructive than fruit and vegetables, which are lighter. Fruit and vegetables move, whereas the obstructive food stays inside. You get constipated, right?
Yeah.
You get more constipated. The stool is different. And when you're constipated and blocked, you're feeding parasites in the fermentation, and they want more. So you're going to want to eat more. Not only because the thing is, the emotions have to do with the parasites. Yeah, like the guilt feeding and the whole thing, punishing yourself by eating. I think it's an excuse so the parasites can eat. So
yeah, I've definitely felt the parasite activity ramping up recently. You know, itching during the night and the arthritis and like just a general desire for different foods. You know, I love the fruits and everything, but lately I have had no desire for them. I've wanted the starch and the heavier foods. And
parasites are not going to desire fruits.
no.
Yeah, no. When you don't eat food, when you eat heavy food, you're not going to desire fruits. 100%. But when you eat fruits, mainly you're going to and want them. Right? Once you get off the fruits for a while, fruits are not going to be appealing. Some people say, "Oh, I'm not a fruit person," you know, and that just tells me you're full of parasites, or you know, full of crap. You know,
Yeah.
Which we
both.
You know, like what? Like, how can a human being not like delicious fruits?
Yeah.
You never touch it.
Yeah, because they're eating the heavy.
Yeah, we had the first mangoes of the season yesterday. They're amazing. Yeah. Ripe mangoes from the farmer's market. Now big, they were like this big.
Amazing.
I was just I just got them from the fruit stall at the market, and with my daughter, we just sat down, like squatted down on the ground, and I just peeled the layers out, and just had it was like a peeled banana, but it was a mango, and I'm just eating straight into it, and there's juice going everywhere. People are looking at us like strangely. Because like everyone that eats mangoes here, like they take it home, they cut it in a slice, and then they cut the squares into it, and they open it up and they eat it like that. I'm just peeling this thing and just hooking into it.
Yeah, I've done that. It's a challenge.
It's the best way to eat a mango because it goes everywhere.
Yeah, it's a challenge to find ripe mangoes over here, but sometimes we'll get some. And they're really nice. Really nice.
So these ones are from Australia? They're local?
Yeah, they're from up the top end of Australia. Then there's Northern Territory they've just started getting mangoes coming out ripe. So, which is normally normally they don't start around until like November, but really early season.
Is it tropical or subtropical up there?
Subtropical, or maybe even close to tropical. Yeah, I guess the Northern Territory would be probably tropical. Yeah,
Nice.
Quite close to the equator.
Anything else you want to say before we wrap it up? It's coming close to the 2-hour mark.
No, I'm all good. Thanks for having me, and thanks for all the questions and support from yourself as well, Range. I'd love to catch up with you after this. So.
Awesome. All right.
That was great, Andrew. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you to you guys for everything that you do. It's really wonderful.
Yeah. Stay in touch with us on Facebook. Keep us updated on how you're doing. We'd love to hear your story, yeah? You know, update us.
You get back on track. Stay focused. And be careful. Just be careful. Smart, be wise.
I mean, you're doing great.
Yeah.
Doing great. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
you're welcome. So we'll wrap it up, and we'll say ciao for now, and I'll keep that plasma love flowing. What makes the world go round, and the creation expanding. And we wouldn't be here without it. So
God bless you. God bless you all, and thank you so much as well. I really appreciate everyone sharing from the bottom of my heart, and I know everyone else appreciates it too. Thank you so much, and bless every one of you.
thanks for joining.
Thanks, friends.
Ciao, ciao, everybody.
Ciao. Bye.
Good night, good day, wherever you are.